What's up, everybody? We are Fourth and Orange,
Orange.
and we're chilling with Rob right now, doing an interview right here on Front Row Live.
New artist here at Atlantic Records, Fourth and Orange. You guys just dropped your debut single, "Girl Next Door," and this is a fire track that you guys just dropped. Talk to me about the creative process of this track and like what was it about this track that made you guys want it to be the debut release for the band?
Well, honestly, about 4 or 5 years ago is when I started figuring out how to write music and like stories. Our lyrics are very story driven, so it's easier to paint pictures in my audience's head when I'm able to say things that they be going through on a daily basis. So about 4 years ago, I wrote this song in my house, and Charles Chavez, who's the main guy right now for us, he picked the song up and loved it so long ago, and we never ended up using it at that time. And 4 years later, it comes about, and he picked me back up as an artist, and we ended up getting the boys together and putting the whole band, and he ended up saying, remember that song that I told you that long ago was ready to go? Well, it's ready to go. And so we got back and finished the second verse for it. And then it ended up being one of the best songs for us to come out with, because honestly, when you're thinking about a broad audience, you don't want to be too tuned into like one specific genre or message. We wanted something broad for everybody to listen to. And I feel like Girl Next Door is something that like from one time or another, somebody has always gone through, always living next to the girl that's next door or whatever. So it gave us an awesome, relatable connection to the audience, and that's how it went about.
Now, this track, you wrote it 4 years ago, but then when you guys all came together to kind of finish it and create it to what it is today, like what was that chemistry like between all of you?
Oh, it was a good process. I like to think it was about a few months. It felt like what I don't know. I'm not very much to understand.
It's been almost 4 months now, right?
It
So
has.
we've gotten a room together, and the vibe was there immediately. I mean, if Girl Next Door was the first one I think we worked on, or second, or one of the two first that we worked on. Yeah. And it was just the vibe, man. I mean, working with these guys has just been a pleasure, and like playing this music is just it's just right up my alley, and I think it's right up all of our alleys. So it's perfect, man. Yeah, had a blast.
So what was it like with the producers that jumped in on this track? Like, how did they kind of challenge you in making the track better than it was 4 years ago?
Well, we got introduced to actually, he was like an acquaintance around some of the people me and Garrett were working with within the islands. DJ Flicked, crazy awesome producer, worked with Sublime, with Rome. You know, people that were up our alley are really dope reggae bands in the area. So he got assigned as executive producer for Fourth and Orange, and that was the first song that we got together with him on, and he did his thing alongside with Mark Pelly from Magic. Yeah. They put together something, and we all came in the studio, and a couple of the boys put on their touches, and ended up how it is. Yeah.
Now, how did you guys feel challenged with this producer? Like, what did you guys do differently in the studio that you haven't done before when you guys have recorded stuff before?
Well, at least for me, it was a whole new experience because I've never experienced anything like it. Yeah. But I don't know. More than a challenge, it was just like really fun to do. He just has this vibe that every time you go there, it's just a good time. Yeah, and it just made it easy.
And they all come from like production backgrounds. Like, we're not messing with any new amateur musicians here, you know. And it's awesome because like when the band is so amateur as far as how long we've been together. Yeah. We've only been together since November. Right. Before that, I didn't even know these guys. I've known him since high school. But their skill has driven them to help us get better, because when we don't have to rely on certain people to do that good on their instrument, it helps us out. So a lot of the challenging things was trying to get everything done by ourselves. Yeah. And now we have awesome DJ Flick, Mark Pelly, and the label helping us get together. The challenges is pretty much finding where our differences are and finding the best common denominator in the middle to make something great, you know? So honestly, they challenge us to sound better just because they're not listening to anything new either. They've been in the game for so long. Everything we show them, I've known this sound before. How do we make it? You know what I'm saying? So that's how it is now, yeah.
And it's cool because, you know, you guys are bringing reggae up again, but it's like it's not a regular style of reggae. You guys are adding a little bit of pop to it. Something that there's only one other person that I can think of at the top of my head. It's my homie Dan Boy, who said what's up to you guys. So, you know, like what made you guys want to, I mean, what made you guys say like, okay, this is what Fourth and Orange is going to sound like?
Honestly, I come from a reggae background kind of when I was a child. I'm sure we all have the same story here. Growing up on Bradley Noel from Sublime, rest in peace. You know, he left a lot of things behind for us to learn from, and we would take those steps. So we kind of got ahead because we listened to one of the I would say the gods of reggae in my generation, and honestly, just taking those short routes to produce something different. I come from a hip hop and pop background.
Right.
And at the same time, I love hip hop. I've been a rapper for almost most of my life. I was able to make that little fusion together. And then when these guys are playing the instruments the way they're doing it, it's sequenced in a pop format, but then we just add the reggae soul to it. And honestly, I think that's what's catching everybody's attention because when they hear it, they think of Bob Marley, which I love so much, you know, but we don't sound anything like that. So when we tell people reggae, that's the first thing that comes to their head, you know, and then they hear it and they're like, yo, this is broader than that. This is 2019 reggae. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think this is like a way of like introducing those that either never liked reggae or never knew anything about reggae. I feel like this is like a good introduction to like this style of music. So, you know, you guys, the two of you have been in the game for quite some time, producing and songwriting. So what did those experiences kind of teach you guys in order to like create what you guys have created today?
Man, it's crazy because I actually got signed to Sony ATV Publishing a couple years back. And when I went into this whole realm of songwriting, I went into so many paths. I was trying to fit in with this industry, at least the pop industry. And 2 years later, I'm back to the sound that I originally started with. So it was definitely finding yourself and man, it just comes back to your roots of what you started with. And that's what definitely I'm amazed and grateful for.
And a lot of us, you know, hard times kind of make the good times a lot better.
Yeah.
And a lot of us come from rough pasts and stuff like that. I don't want to speak too much on darkness, but a lot of the darkness brings light. And that's something that Chandler had quoted from me, and I appreciate that because it's something that I take it to heart. When I give this message to the kids, I want them to understand that, like, I've been there before. And when you listen to our music, like, we're not trying to live up here above people. Like, we brought ourselves back down to the exact level as everybody else. We talk about eating Little Caesar's pizza for $5 and splitting it up between each other. Stuff like that makes people like, wow, this is why I connect to this specific reggae. Because while other reggaes are talking about their cultures, we're talking about ours, and ours is Southern California reggae, you know?
Right. And I just want to dive a little bit more into what you had talked about because, you know, LBC has never had a great rep. You know, growing up, like I've always heard there's like violence and stories and stuff like that. So like what kind of challenges did you guys kind of face to be able to be here today to create the music that you create today? And you know, does this go for everyone as well or just for a couple of you?
Not exactly. Me and him are from Long Beach, California. All the other guys are from different places, but two of them are from California. My man here isn't. But at the same time, you know, we all got that place that you're talking about that's talked about violent or we all got like somewhere in our neighborhoods is that place. So at the same time, ours happened to be Long Beach, you know, and shouts out to Snoop, shouts out to everybody who was there promoting the culture and showing us how to get out. But at the same time, there's of course a place for them to say that, oh, my place is violent here, you know, and for us it's something we try to get away from because you can become a product of your environment so fast. And I know people say that, but like it's true because when you look around and you're indulged by it, you start becoming that. And we would always take ourselves out of that situation, go to Hollywood, go to LA or wherever we could feel that we would not be adapted to what we're used to. And we took that, and honestly, like, I'm proud of these guys so much because, like, we all could have taken different routes. You know what I'm saying? But we obviously didn't, and we're here today, and we're promoting something so great for people.
That's sick. That's sick. And, like, moving forward, like, you guys just had your showcase like last week. Wow. You know, first show ever. Like obviously you guys had some like great chemistry in the studio, but you know, when you put that into a live show on a stage performing for people, like what was that like for you guys?
Oh my God, it was liberating. It was. I haven't been on the stage for a while, and just to be on stage, especially with this guy, because he can play drums. He knows how to do it just right. It's like that, like, what do you call that? Like not just the pocket though, but there's like this thing that we feel every time when we play. It's like we're synced together. Like
We're locked, man.
It's getting deep right now.
Day one, since day one. There's no words. You know what I mean? There's no words. All these guys, man, we're all locked. You know, but whether it be with a vibe or with music, with rhythm. Like, and that's what I was gonna say too. I'm the only one not from California, from the North Shore of Boston, Ipswich, Massachusetts. The funny thing is, what was so serendipitous and why I say it was such a vibe when we got in the studio together, is because like I've literally been dreaming about playing this music. I mean, Sublime was huge for me growing up in the winters in Boston. It's snowing, and we're just imagining. I've never been to Long Beach at that point. Never even been west of the Mississippi. You know what I mean? Sitting there with my friends listening to reggae and just going up into like the production studio in my high school, sneaking up there, making beats, like copying Sublime. And then you end up here, 10 years later and meet these guys just serendipitously, And it's just, I'm a big believer in the law of attraction. I think a lot of these guys are too. So, you imagine the things that you want, and you imagine the people in your life that you want to have. Dude, I couldn't have asked to be put on a better team than this. Like, honestly, genuinely, these guys, I believe in them so much. I'm a little corny, but seriously, though. And we're all on the same page, and everybody brings a little bit of something different. So it's special, man. It's special for sure.
The big thing about the show that you're talking about, like, it was such a big thing for us because we stepped into a room. Not only was it our first show, it was our first show with 0 fans, right? Because everybody at this place, they don't know who we are.
Right, exactly.
And we got up on stage knowing that no one's going to sing our songs. Right. No one's going to just get blind struck by us and say, oh, my God, there's 4th and Orange. It's like, who is 4th and Orange? And honestly, it was a room full of high-level executives and stuff like that. So we put our hands together, did a little on 3, 4, and 0. And we put our hands in the air, went out there, and I think we left that building with fans. You know what I'm saying?
That's it. Well, just listening to that one track, it makes me want some more, which makes me want to ask, where is the rest of the music? Because I'm sure, I mean, you said one of 2 tracks that you guys were in the studio with, but because you guys had that performance, I'm sure there's many more songs that you guys have been cooking up. So when can fans expect more music? Because I am already a fan and I'm already begging for more.
Well, don't look too long, because I promise you, before we went into that show, all those songs that we performed that night are already done and recorded tracks. So, and that's not even all of them. We had to cut the set down. So just understand that we have been working since November, getting the full records done before we could even think about performing them.
To close off, for those fans that are not familiar with you guys, why music? What is it about 4th and Orange that made you want to take this career path? You guys can all do individually if you want.
I mean, man, this is the only thing I ever wanted to do. Play music. And when you asked about the show the other night, I mean, I live for those moments. I always say this, hashtag, I just want to play. It's not original, but it's true, man. I just want to play. And especially when it's with good people, good music, it's all I need, period. You know what I mean? So that's pretty much it.
Perform in front of thousands of people and put a smile on their face and watch them walk home and go home and drive home and be like, wow, it was a wonderful show.
Nice.
Basically, I just want to do for everybody else what music did for me. And honestly, music raised me and kept me out of trouble, and I know that we can do the same for other people.
Right. Same, yeah. It did definitely. Music drifted us away from all of our parts in our life that we needed to kind of drown out, and that's what we hope to relate with the fans. That the reason why we make music is because we came from certain places that weren't the funnest times, but man, music definitely, it tuned out everything. It gave us something to build on, something to grow on, and made it all worth it. And, yeah, I can't be more happy than the people I'm with, the sound we're making, everything, man. Everything is just aligned so perfectly right now. I'm blown away myself.
Yeah, for me it's the same, but also I feel like it's the only place where I can feel comfortable and I can be myself. Yeah. And yeah, I just love music.
Ricky Legend.
All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for hanging out with me. This is the first, but it's definitely not going to be the last. Like I said, I'm already a fan, so I look forward to more music, more shows from you guys. You guys be sure to check out 4th and Orange. New single, debut single is out now. It's called Girl Next Door. Thanks for watching on Front Row Live.